Hey viewers, you're welcome to the Mark2Mark show in this moment, and I'm excited to introduce to you, we have Mark and Mark. Later we'll be seeing what it's all about, the Mark2Mark thing. Today it's not all about soccer, we have an exciting lineup. And while Mark and Mark will be breaking down key matchups later, I will be chiming in later also with my favorite take-ons on maybe players and different sports. And also later on, we'll be talking about Ugandan rugby, so stick around and you won't want to miss it.
And for the benefit of Ketabdu, you call her Ketabdu. Yes. I don't know if she's Ketabdu or Pearl, yes. But we shall call her Pearl Ketabdu. Mark and Mark are widely traveled. Yeah. They've covered each and every sport there is in the world. They've been to various World Cups, they've been to tennis Grand Slams, okay. They've been to Olympic Games, they've been to Nations Cup Championships. They're award-winning journalists, Mark and Mark, and they've been it all. They've been there, done that. One of the Marks is a former MVP of Ugandan basketball. One of the Marks is a former player in the Uganda Super League football. One of the Marks has won a couple of trophies in the game of golf. So they are sportsmen who are more than sportsmen. They've been masters of the pen and they've become authorities over decades. So it's going to be quite a brilliant ride that you're going to enjoy.
But guys, I think we need more introductions,
Yeah, Mark Namanya is my name, a sports journalist for so many years. I've worked with just about each and every media house in the country. I would consider myself to be a prolific writer. I've covered just about every sport there is. I've covered multiple Olympics. I was in London. I was in Rio de Janeiro in 2016, and I watched Cheptegei emerging. At the time, I was actually a nobody at the games then. And then I've watched also the World Cups. I've not missed. I've been to the last 4 or 5 World Cups. We covered South Africa 2010, Brazil 2014, Russia 2018, and Qatar 2022. I've watched multiple. And I've watched and covered multiple Africa Cup of Nations tournaments, as well as World Athletics Championships and Commonwealth Games. So I am an avid golfer right now. I play off a very, very, very solid handicap 9. And I'm actually the reigning Chitante Cup champion. I have the trophy. I won it last year at Chitante, and hopefully, for the next segment of the show, I'll be playing off handicap 6 or 7.
Okay. Yeah, Mark Ssali. Mark Ssali, yeah. My story is also very long, so I'll try to summarize it like he did. Yeah, I was a sportsman much earlier. Mark is very prolific golf now, but I played in the Uganda Premier League football when it was still called the Super League. Okay. For Dara Corporation between 93 and 97, having done apprenticeships at Nsambia and Villa and Kofi. So I was around the league. And then I played basketball for Makerere, for SMARC, for Makerere University. I won the league with Makerere University in 95. I played for Blue Jackets as a club. I played for Uganda, the national team. I captained Uganda on a few occasions in Kigali and Nairobi for big tournaments there. I captained, basically, I was one of the best basketball players in the country for a period between 1990 and 98 when my knees gave. Yeah, so, yeah, and at the same time I was playing football. I was one of only 2 people who were doing it at the time, playing both in the league, both basketball and football at the same time with Nimrod Kaboha. And so after that, I ventured, of course, into journalism. I've been there, done that. I've covered everything in journalism. Locally here, I've done radio, television, and print. I was a sports editor at Monitor before Mark took over from me. I was sports editor there. I wrote columns. I covered everything. Internationally, I've done for the BBC, I've done for Supersport, I've been in the studios in GTV in the UK, Supersport in South Africa. I've done commentaries all across the region. Been to all Africa Games, been to African Nations Cup Championships, I've been to the Olympics, I've been to the World Cups. I started with the Euro Championships in 2000. Mark knows I was in Belgium and Amsterdam and Holland in 2000. So the journey started there, and I've done it all as well.
Okay, I think right now let's get into the weekend. The weekend soccer preview.
Right. Okay. We've got 4 huge games this weekend. We were saying something before we came on air about how it's amazing that the Europeans somehow get together to do the fixtures. It's no longer league to league. Looks like it's synchronized with the others, because how else do you explain what should supposed to be coincidence of having the biggest games in each one of the top 5 leagues happening this weekend, on the same weekend? But we'll talk about...
And beyond that, because of the powers of television, they make sure that they're not aired concurrently. So if you have the biggest game happening in England, it won't be happening at the same time as the biggest game in Spain, as the biggest game in Italy and France, because of the powers of television.
It's all same weekend, but different kickoff times. But it's going to get us glued for the entire weekend. So we'll dive into the biggest one for most of the guys that we broadcast for, because they love the English Premier League more than the others. But for Mark and I, the Spanish La Liga and the Italian Serie A, as well as the German Bundesliga and the French League One, for us it's all the same. We love them equally. So, but we'll start with Arsenal and Liverpool. I don't know, Mark, what you think about that. I am thinking Arsenal in trouble. I'm thinking this is the start of a fixture list that could get them in serious trouble as far as their championship ambitions are concerned. I don't know what your take is on that, but I'll qualify my statement.
I think Liverpool are in trouble because Liverpool's run is bound to end at a certain point in time. It's so good to be true. I mean, and I'm missing the low averages because they've put on such an impeccable run of form for a coach who is managing the team for the first time. And it's Slot, I mean, he's won all his games in the Champions League. He's only dropped points to Nottingham Forest. He's won just about each and every game. And I think Arsenal are more desperate for the points. And purely using the low averages, I think something is bound to give way for Liverpool. And I don't think Liverpool are going to beat Arsenal, as the form book suggests.
Yeah, for me, the reason I say Arsenal are in trouble is because this is going to be the first game in maybe 2-3 years that they play without Odegaard, Saka and Saliba. There's been 1 absent or 2 absent for a couple of games in which they've struggled, but it's never been all of 3 since Arteta put together a consistent lineup.
Wait, you mentioned Saliba, Saka.
And Martin Odegaard.
Oh, okay.
Odegaard is the master, he's the playmaker. He's been away for quite a bit, and Arsenal have continued to win without him.
Wow,
but they've struggled.
Interesting.
They've struggled in the last few weeks without him, but they had Saka to
try
and fill that gap, and they had Saliba to make them the strongest defense in the Premiership they've been over the last 1.5 years. I'd like to say.
And now the 3 are out.
Now that the partnership between Saliba and Gabriel has been broken up for this weekend because Saliba got sent off in their last game, and they didn't win that game against Brentford. Not was it Brentford, was it?
No, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, yeah, they didn't win that game after Saliba had sent off. You could say it's because they were down a man. But now, even with 11, if Gabriel has a new partner, and there's going to be huge debates on who that should be, there might be question marks. There will be questions asked by perhaps the most, I'd like to say the toughest firepower, the strongest firepower in the English Premier League. Because while Liverpool have not been champions of the last 2 leagues and all, or even top scorers, because Arsenal and Man City have matched them goal for goal, I believe as far as raw firepower, they are the best, not only in England, but in Europe. Because I'm talking having six strikers who, each one of them, on their own merit, can actually get 20 goals. They are not the same style, they're complementary. Any 3 will play, but any one of those 6 can get 20. Easy. And I'm talking Mo Salah, I'm talking Diogo Jota, I'm talking Luiz, I'm talking
Darwin
Núñez and Cody Gakpo, as well as Federico Chiesa.
I think, no doubt the form book suggests that Liverpool have got everything going for them. Make no mistake about it, Mark. But the fact of the matter is that, I mean, Arsenal were poor against Bournemouth. I thought they didn't play well against Shakhtar, but this now is the time when the chips are down for a team to show its championship credentials. I thought Arsenal did very well against Man City. Not so many teams are going to go to the Etihad and get a point when they're 10 men against the champions and arguably the best team in England, if not in Europe.
Yeah.
So this is the moment for all the other guys around to show their mettle, you know. Martinelli, the former Man City player, Man City striker.
Gabriel Jesus.
Gabriel Jesus, I've always had my misgivings about him. Kai Havertz, he's been tremendous for them this season, but I think now is a time without the creativity of Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard. And of course, I think the biggest miss, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be Saliba, because Arsenal's bedrock has been the defense, and Saliba has been very, very outstanding. His partnership with Gabriel. But like I said, unless Liverpool are going to win all the games forever, their run is bound to end somewhere.
It's bound to end someday.
And the thing
anything is possible, really. At this
I mean, it's Arsenal at the end of the day. It's 11 Arsenal players against 11 Liverpool players. So Liverpool are not going to field all the 6 strikers. They're not going to have Cody Gakpo and Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah and Luis Diaz and Federico Marquez. It's not going to happen. And at the end of the day, you have 11 men of Liverpool against 11 Arsenal players. And this is the weekend when Liverpool's run ends.
Mark, I might agree with you on the fact that that run has got to end someday. And I also might agree that you can't play all 6. Thankfully for Arne Slot, actually, the selection headache is less because Jota got injured in midweek and Chiesa got injured, I think, in the international break. So those 2 might not be available. But still, there are 4 from which you can pick 3, and the 4th one will come on. That is, I expect that it will be Salah, Núñez and Diaz to start, and Gakpo to start, with Diaz coming on. Each one of them can punish you, and in tandem they will. What I've liked about Liverpool, and I say this with a heavy heart, because they're not my favorite team. They're not my favorite team. I don't like them very much. But what I like about them is
neither do I.
Neither do you. Yeah, at least we have something in common there. What I like is that Arne Slot has come in there and not reinvented the wheel. He wants to be his own man. He wants to be recognized as his own man. But he also knows that Liverpool were in rhythm because of something Klopp created over a period of 7 years. And so while he wants them to keep possession more, while he wants them to pass the ball shorter and be in more control of games, he still recognizes that these guys are so used to quick transitions that he has not taken that away from them. So they will defend well, and once they win the ball, it is 5-6 seconds before a shot on goal on the other side. That's how quick Liverpool have been. That's how in tandem they are. That's how well they understand each other. And so that is where I worry about Arsenal this weekend. That's where I worry about Arsenal and their defense this weekend. They might have more the ball than Liverpool to start, but Liverpool will create the easier chances because they will get in behind them when Arsenal commit numbers. I expect Arsenal will not hold back. They will still play the way they do when they have 11 men. They've defended very well with so many men behind the ball when they've gone down a man. But 11 on 11, I expect Arsenal will want to go head and shoulders with the Liverpool, even take control. That will fall into Liverpool's hands.
I think what is critical for Arsenal is they're going to have to be disciplined. They've had, I think, the most send-offs this season. They had Declan Rice sent-off, they had Trossard sent-off, they had Saliba sent-off. It's going to be important to have 11 against 11, and I think that is going to be key for them. But that Arsenal team, for all the players who are not going to be present, they still have firepower. I mean, you have Leandro Trossard, who's still in the team. You have Kai Havertz, he's a goal scorer. You have Declan Rice, who's going to be very, very critical for them in midfield. I think we've seen Arsenal do some smash and grab jobs. I think that is something they can do. We saw what Nottingham did in frustrating Liverpool. It's not easier said than done. But if you just maintain your shape and be disciplined, I think they have it in them. Right now, I think Arsenal is one of the most deadly teams when they're set plays, because they've put in time and hours to perfect how to punish teams from set plays. So I think Arsenal's chances, and I know Mikel Arteta is a very good coach, they're going to take Liverpool down into a very, very awkward sort of game. They will definitely not allow Liverpool to get in their rhythm. You can be sure about that. And Liverpool are very good. But Arsenal,
moving on.
Liverpool won't get,
I don't think we'll lose
I'm very sure as night follows day that Liverpool won't get into their rhythm come match day. And believe you me, on Monday when we're discussing here, Mark will be explaining why Liverpool didn't beat Arsenal in the English Premier League.
We'll come to that next week. So moving on, yes.
But just before Paul is ushers us into another sport, I think it would only be fair to say one or two lines about Manchester United. Otherwise, Paul would throw us out.
Yeah, and there are a few guys out there.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that now.
A few guys out
Let's
there.
Let's get to it.
Yes, yeah. United this weekend are away to West Ham. They play against West Ham, Julian Lopetegui's team. They West Ham, of course, have struggled. They are on the lower end of the table, but their strength, the strength of their squad, the individuals and the squad, is much better than their league position right now. So United have got to be careful because they themselves have not turned that corner. Never mind that they got that win against Brentford in last weekend.
But West Ham has been shaky.
They have, yeah. But the results have not come, but I don't think the performances have been as bad as those results say.
If West Ham have been shaky, then United have been.
What?
I'm still searching for that
one. Trust me.
Yeah, because the thing though for United is that the most awkward place you want to go, coming from that long trip from Istanbul, is to go to the Stratford Stadium in London to play West Ham. It's such an awkward fixture.
It is.
And United are not exactly riding high on confidence. You saw them struggling to beat Brentford in the last game at home. And I mean, with United now, you don't know what kind of performance you're going to get out of it.
You don't know which United shows up, yeah. But I have this feeling it will be a good United. West Ham, of course, are missing Mohamed Kudus. He got sent off, the Ghanaian, and that he was a thorn in United's back.
Big blow.
Yeah, he was a thorn in United's back last season over the two home and away games. But they still have the players that can hurt United. The thing though is that United have one blessing in disguise, and it's that Bruno Fernandes rested in midweek because he had been sent off against Porto. He didn't play in Istanbul, so the captain is fresh. And the creativity will be there. If they play anywhere as well as they did against Brentford in spells, it wasn't a magnificent throughout, but there were spells when they looked really good, and Bruno was finding, with ease, both Rashford and Garnacho, and Rashford was looking in a better mood than he has been in the last 2-3 years. If they play that well, they can cause problems. And
the biggest challenge, Mark, for United is. And I know Ten Hag has had to cope with so many injuries. Even Lenny Yoro was signed. I mean, he hasn't yet played a single minute. The problem with Ten Hag, even 3 years down the road, there's never been a moment when I would say that this is the United team which is going to play in this game.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows his best team. I don't think any United fan out there can even get the team 85% right, the one which is going to be fielded against West Ham, and I think that reflects in the results the club has been posting over the last couple of years, because there's no consistency in the team.
Yes.
And when you think that someone is trying to build some kind of form, remember when Rashford scored, I think, a couple of goals, and Ten Hag benched him in the next game, and he faced all this backlash, and he had to go out and defend his decision. You know, he's such an arrogant Dutchman, but it's not helping with the results, and we have to wait and see. But I don't think that it does United any favors, not knowing the best team
that they have. Yeah, I could hazard a guess now. There's been an improvement in that sense over the last 2 weekends or 3. Okay, since after the
actually the only guy who's is Onana.
Yeah, Onana is there, but I could hazard a guess that he's not going to go too far from the team that played against Brentford, and that will mean again that Martinez will play at left back, and that would mean that Evans and Delete will play as in central defense, and then that Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot is almost as sure as Onana to start a United game if he's fit, and he will be. So he will play at right back, I think. And then that midfield, of course, will play Casemiro, Bruno, and Eriksen. Eriksen has been in good form. And up front, it should be Højlund leading the line as a spearhead, with Garnacho and Rashford on either side. Unless there's a knock with one of those in Istanbul at Fenerbahce, that should be the team that starts the game for Ten Hag. And because the burden of the expectation has lessened a little bit, and it's an away game, it might suit them, because the pressure they play under at Old Trafford is immense. It's unbelievable. For a team with individuals lacking in confidence and a manager who's not sure, that atmosphere might be hostile. The United fans are loyal, by the way, to the kilt. But it's just that the burden of expectation playing in front of them has been overwhelming for United in their form. So an away game sometimes suits that is better. And I'm thinking that so West Ham will come in there. They will think United are there for the taking. They will not be too defensive. They will try and take the game to United. If they open up those spaces, Alejandro Garnacho has looked really good playing, taking on people of 1v1s and with space playing behind. So has Rashford. Both have been erratic, which they should have scored more goals against Brentford and should have got even more against Crystal Palace and Porto and a few of those other games in there. But when it clicks, West Ham might be in trouble.
I think for United,
trust me.
For United, so there are two problems for Man United. Two problems. The first problem, which is a very big problem, is that United do not have strikers who are in free scoring form.
No.
Liverpool have it. Man City have it in droves because Haaland is arguably up there with Lewandowski, the best striker in the world.
Even Kai Havertz is outscored.
Even Kai
Arsenal do, because Kai Havertz outscores our team.
Tottenham have Son, who's been scoring the goals. They have
even Solanke is getting goals now. Brennan Johnson is on fire.
So now that's the first problem. The second problem, which is actually the bigger problem, is that if the two Marks know that Ten Hag right now, I mean the Ineos team who are running the football management of the club, they're looking actively and openly looking for replacement for Ten Hag. And it's one of the biggest secrets which is out there. I think they've admitted that they made a mistake in renewing his contract in the summer. And I don't know what state of mind the manager goes into his office every morning and for matches when you're knowing that you're just on borrowed time. And if it's just one draw or a loss away from crisis headlines, and I mean, it's a problem. Ten Hag has done a good job of putting on a brave face, but it's ultimately trickling down to the performance of the team because the best open secret in European football right now is that United are looking for the replacement for Ten Hag, and they suffered a blow when Thomas Tuchel was appointed as English manager, and one of the reasons the FA actually rushed to appoint Thomas Tuchel was because they never wanted United to appoint him before they could, because they're also actively in the market for a new manager. So it's a big challenge, and I think it's also taking its toll on the confidence of some of the players.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll see how that goes. I think it's a game-by-game situation for Ten Hag. He can't look beyond his next fixture because all he has to do to put up a run is to concentrate on the game before him and try and win that, and see if that piles into, say, 3 or 4 wins on the trot by Christmas, he might be more comfortable than he is right now. But I agree with Mark, he's not.
So we have more games to look
Yeah, we have the El Clasico, which is it's the biggest league game in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah,
in the world.
In the world, actually. It's the biggest league game in the world, regardless of what many people that view us, especially because we're English speakers and our audience will be largely of English speakers.
Okay.
So there will be a bias towards the English Premiership for them, a bias which we see day to day, Mark and I, when we associate, when we sit in the pub, when we read a newspaper, when we go onto the internet or onto social media and everything. The truth of the matter is that the El Clasico remains the biggest game in Europe. Now, what happens is that for especially this generation,
yes,
is the El Clasicos they watched were all involved Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. And then it was justified with the biggest game in Europe. So for the two to have left the scene, many think that they have, those two clubs and the La Liga have fallen behind, and so has this derby. It hasn't. Not in my eyes. Especially not this season. So a few things have changed from the Barcelona of 2 years ago, and which mean that now they can actually match Real Madrid patch for patch this season again, and are going to make for a very exciting El Clasico. So I believe that regardless of the fact that Madrid are European champions, they are champions of Spain as well. They have some of the best players in the world. 2 of them are actually vying for the Ballon d'Or in the same lineup and everything. And the third one should be vying as well for them, but he only just joined in. Okay. I'm talking Vinicius Junior and Jude Bellingham being joined by Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, the thing though is that I love this season's Barcelona. And while Madrid are using the superstars they used to back in the days when Florentino Perez was used to talk about the Zidanes and the performance.
I think they've maintained the model.
Barcelona have gone back to La Masia and have brought the kids in that are taking Barcelona back to what we used to know.
Actually, and, the fact of the matter, and why I'm so keen on this El Clasico, as keen as I've been for any other in history, it is typical classic Barcelona Real Madrid. Barcelona have always been the team of Catalonia, who have always fought for full autonomy from Spain, and then you have Madrid, who are labeled as the team of the institution, the team of the government, of the Spanish government.
Okay.
Madrid have for years been they've been beneficiaries of state support, state funding, and then Barcelona have been a team which is they've been humble. They've projected themselves as a team which is going to build for the long term.
Okay.
Madrid want to buy all the ready-made players. They think it's their divine right to have all the best players in the world, which is why they've always had Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo, Figo, David Beckham. They think anyone who's the best player in the world should be playing for them, and that is their birthright. And for Barcelona, they play the long haul. They're going to take time to build and develop players, nurture them over time. And right now, this is as close to the best La Masia products as any in history.
Yeah,
because when you see some of the stuff that these kids are doing, the Pedris and Lamine Yamals and Gavis, I mean, it's special stuff. Yeah,
which is why I can't wait. To be honest, I can't wait. It's 10 p.m. kickoff here in Uganda, 10 p.m. Uganda time, East African, if you like, on Saturday, and I can't wait.
I think Madrid are going to beat Barcelona, and Madrid have got actually the most frightening team in world football. I mean, the potential, and I mean, I love the La Masia project. I love the kids who've come through. I think they're as good. They're going to be as good as Busquets and Xavi and Iniesta at their peak. The history suggests that, I mean, Barca have the patience and they've got the same organizational structure to see those kids through. Madrid are extremely frightening and terrifying. And when you have a team which has Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., who is potentially probably the best player in European football right now, you have Jude Bellingham, perhaps the most exciting English player since, for me, Paul Gascoigne. Even more exciting than Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney was breaking through. And then you have, they're feeding Mbappe. They've got Rodrigo. They've got tons and tons of talent. And these are kids who have maturity way beyond theirs. And I can go as far as saying that the model which has been adopted by Madrid right now in sourcing and acquiring these players, the best players in the world at that age, is actually, it's going to deliver more long-term results than the model which acquired Zidane and Figo, and because they got Zidane and Ronaldo, and you could say probably Figo's peak years were in Barcelona, I can argue, in as much as he had a good spell at Real Madrid. I think even the Ronaldo who joined Real Madrid, his better years were probably in Inter Milan and PSG and Barcelona. I think even Beckham's best years were probably in Man United. Right now, they're going to get the best years of Kylian Mbappe. They're going to get the best years of Jude Bellingham. They're going to get the best years of Rodrigo. They're going to get the best years of Vinicius Jr. and
Endrick Adagula.
And Endrick Adagula. I mean,
it's just amazing.
I mean, I just shudder to imagine.
Well, I agree with all of that.
Madrid at their best are such a frightening beast.
While I agree with all that, and that bit, they've always done that stuff with the Beckhams, you say, the figures, and it goes all the way back, by the way, to the 50s and 60s when they had Ferenc Puskás and Alfredo Di Stefano. They've always been that kind of team. And that period, they won the first 5 Champions Leagues ever. And also, their history is such that they've built their teams in that way. But this is the year in which Barcelona have shown that they've built their teams in their own way as well. I've said that blend of youth and experience, because Rafinha, I talked about Rafinha, for example, he's the one who brings the experience. These days even puts on the armband. It shocks a few. I'm sure the Brazilian president is about to get a seizure. But there's Robert Lewandowski. There's that guy as well.
It's been a tremendous signing for Bayern. And to think they acquired him at 35 5 years.
Yeah, he's
And
one of the
he's scoring
fittest
goals.
sportsmen in the world. Yeah,
All right.
his training model is the same as Cristiano Ronaldo's and
Novak
Novak
Djokovic.
Djokovic. Yeah, those are the fittest strikers. But never mind.
Okay.
That is. We'll come back to the predictions,
Yes,
and,
yes,
I'm
yes,
sure again
yes.
I'm going to be disagreeing with Mark. Inter, I love the way they play. Individually, they're very good, and they have a deep squad. But they also, as a team, they're in sync. But this Juve has begun to recover. I like some of the things they're doing. Up front, of course, they have Vlahovic, they have Milik. They still have guys who can score. They have Timothy Weah, George Weah's son, and a few others. They and in midfield, they're not looking too shabby. I've watched a few of their games in the Champions League, and I've thought, hey, Juventus are looking a bit like Juventus of old. I still don't think they're ready to compete with Inter.
No, I think Inter is still the strongest team
in
in Italy, and as much as Napoli are table leaders, Inter have a team which is rich in depth. They have rich in quality, and they've got a team which has struck a certain chemistry. I think they are comfortably the best team in Italy, and it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be very hard for them to be.
On this, we might agree. I don't see Juve winning this game, except for the fact that again, you know, Juve have the pedigree. You know, when it comes to Serie A, if it was a Champions League clash over 2 legs, for example, I'd fancy Inter over Juve. But this is a Serie A game, and Juve somehow find their way in the Serie A. We'll see.
I think I don't think Juve should cause Inter so many problems. I mean, Juventus is Juventus, but I think Inter will prevail in this one.
Okay. Then, Paul, we have in France, the biggest game in France, also without a doubt. Yeah, the way you talk El Clasico is the way you talk Marseille versus PSG. Now, their fortunes have been different over the last few years. PSG have been dominating and winning domestic championships and all. Marseille have been second best, not only to PSG, but to also Lyon, to Brest, even Brest. I mean, teams like Brest and Lille are playing Champions League football, and Marseille are not there. But this year, with the new coach in Ssali and Mason Greenwood and a few others coming into that Marseille lineup, they might cause PSG a few problems. Unfortunately for them, of course, this game comes a few weeks early for Paul Pogba, because Pogba is going to be playing for Marseille, but that probably is going to be after Feb.
The thing, though, Mark, is that even when PSG had all the superstars, Cavani and Zlatan and Mauro Icardi and all these players,
and then Neymar
and then Neymar and even if you go back, they had that Argentine midfielder who was a creative midfielder for them. Marseille caused them all sorts of problems. Even when Marseille was squashed, even when they were in relegation, and it's something which I just failed to get my around, because Marseille were they were a team everyone was running over. They were whipping. The punching bag in the League One, but for some reason they caused all problems for PSG. And this PSG is, I would say, to put it bluntly, is not as formidable as it was when it had Kylian Mbappe at the 4. They are still PSG.
And when Neymar was at his best.
And when Neymar was at his best. So I saw them struggling to level. I think they struck an equalizer in the Champions League.
Yes,
Hakimi, who spared their blushes. So, are they still the best team in the French league? They probably are, but I think Marseille is going to ask 1 or 2 questions about them, and that's the game which...
PSG should, if they play well enough, they should still beat them. I mean, they are not the PSG of 2 years ago or the one that has dominated French football, but still with Kolo Muani and Bakolo and... Lee Khan, the South Korean, as well as Dembele, Ousmane Dembele, they still are very strong.
But Dembele is one of the most infuriating players there has ever been.
Yes, he is.
In the history of mankind. Extremely infuriating. One moment he does something which will make you think he's a cross between Messi and Cristiano. The next moment he does something which makes him a cross between Mason Mount and I don't know.
Well, that's well. Okay, but the thing is, they still have that firepower and they have a strong midfield. I mean, Zaire Emery and a few others out of there. I think they will still. I believe that De Zerbi is a very good manager, and that if Luis Enrique is not careful, this is a guy who can outthink him on a tactical level. Especially if he underestimates him. But I still believe PSG are the stronger team. So that wraps up our big games of Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, so now, like you were saying, we can move to another sport. Yeah, so Paul, we'll move away from that and go into the NBA, because we need to talk other sport as well. The NBA started 2 nights ago, and well, I don't know what Mark thinks, but Celtic already looking like the team to beat again. So we've only watched each team once, and of course there are going to be so many changes over the regular season and all. And the NBA these days became about who's healthy and who's not. Over the last 5 years, it's become so much about who's fit and who isn't, especially come playoff time. But all factors remaining constant.
I think
Celtics are still the team.
I think. I mean, you've got to give credit to Celtic. I mean, they started so well. It's a pity they didn't break the 3-point record, because after shooting the 9 threes,
Jason,
they missed the next 13, which is
13 attempts. Yeah,
13 attempts after equaling the NBA record of 29 threes.
They got to 29 well in time.
Well in time.
Yeah, to break it and put it out of sight even.
But the thing is, and in fairness, I mean, Celtics, you can only beat the team before you, and Celtics, they took care of the Mavs in the finals, so you cannot take it away from them. I think Celtic could have faced a bigger challenge if they had faced some other opponent other than the Mavs in the final. But take nothing away from them. They are going to be champions.
Yeah. Look, there's and I've seen, because the way the game was built, the opening game of the NBA, them against the Knicks, was like it would be the Eastern Conference final.
And
the Knicks are looking good and everything. I still believe the Knicks are not the second best team in the Eastern Conference at that. Especially because of star power and a few other things. I still believe that the Bucks and Philly should give Celtics a harder time than
I think
New York Knicks.
I think so too.
There are teams there that have played well. The Knicks roster looks good. And then you have got 2 teams that have been building steadily. I mean, the Indiana Pacers, same team, same roster, same coach. 3-4 years now, they've built something beautiful. It's in sync. Then you have the Orlando Magic quietly, guys, the same guys. The young team has been brought together. Each year, I think they've been getting almost like the #1 draft pick. They have about 3 or 4 in the lineup, Banchero and Markelle Fultz and everything, #1 draft picks and all. They're looking good and all. I still believe if Giannis gets the right pieces around him and they're healthy, they should be Celtics' problem.
I still think
Embiid is fit and Paul George gets fit, they should be the problem for the Celtics, not the New York Knicks.
I do agree with that, but I think the NBA champions don't come from the Western Conference, because you have the Joker, who is the best player in the NBA, with all due respect to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
I thought you were about to say King
Jason
James.
is quite confident.
I thought you were going to say King James.
Jason is quite confident. That's where he is right now.
I mean, the Lakers right now, it's some kind of it's a LeBron story, and he's doing as and when he so wishes. It was his desire to play with his son. It was his dream to play with his son, and he accomplished it. I don't think the Lakers are going to be in the frame for the Western Conference. I think certainly the Timberwolves are still very formidable. I think the Mavs are going to be stronger this season with Klay Thompson and Kyrie plus Luka Doncic. I think when they get, they're going to be strong. I think even Phoenix, a team with KD is KD. It's not going to be easy. And I don't know which Clippers we shall ever see, because Kawhi Davis seems to have some kind of permanent fixture in the
Kawhi Leonard, he's out. George is out. The Clippers now, I don't know. They've got James Harden fit. He's chasing after a record. I think he's only 34. No, actually, it's less now.
Yeah,
it's just under 30.
Yeah,
threes left to catch Ray Allen for
in the
second.
next 5-6 games. I think he's going to be.
Yeah, he's going to be the second.
3-point shooter. But I think for me the team is still Denver. I think, up to now, I don't know how Denver blew a 30-digit lead to get beaten by the Timberwolves. I think Denver would have caused a lot more problems
for Dallas.
For Dallas and even the Celtics in the finals. Yeah.
But let me tell you, you might say about those, but the biggest rival actually for Denver in the Western Conference could be the Thunder. OKC are a very strong, very young team. that have built very well around SGA, Shai Gilgeous Alexander, and are going to be very, very competitive. Actually, the Lakers
for as long as they don't meet the Joker, because the Joker will clean them. That's going to be sweep.
Yeah.
That's going to be
because
sweep.
once the Joker sits on Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that's going to, and he schools Davis.
I would enjoy watching that.
Every time the Joker faces Davis, he just cleans him.
Yeah, and last season Jamal Murray was in LeBron's face. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So anyway, never mind. We'll leave the NBA and come to Uganda.
Right.
I'm sure everybody out there has been waiting for us to come home.
I know.
So
right?
let's get home, pal.
We've come to the Pearl of Africa.
Yeah, let's get home. Just quickly
guys,
talk about Thomas Bach. He was here.
Yeah, he was here. I mean, huge visit because he's the IOC president, and there've been some guarantees.
IOC is the International Olympic Committee. For those who might not know,
yeah,
Paul might be like,
yeah.
what are you saying?
The International Olympic Committee, the body which runs all the Olympic sports in the world. When you hear about the Olympics, which happened in Paris earlier this year, IOC are the movement who are behind it. I think it was, again, another historic visit. We've had, before him, we had the former IOC president, Jacques Rouge, who was in the country, even Juan Antonio Samarak.
Samarak has been here as well, yeah?
Yeah, Samarak has been here before. Actually, the president did recall that he knows IOC, and he recalled that Juan Antonio Samarak was here. He didn't mention Jacques Rouge.
No, I don't think the president knows Rock, but Samarak, he would know.
Mark, and again, at the risk of sounding a pessimist, because we get all these visits, and they're historic. There's always the aplomb, there's always the coverage, the dinners, and etc. But beyond them, you want to hope, and I'm hoping against hope, that there is a lasting legacy beyond the visits, because we've seen some commitments made, some donations here and there, and all these flowery speeches made. But after he's gone and he left, he's out of the country right now, that visit passes some passing wind of sorts. So huge visit for Uganda. I know that there are plans to expand some of the arenas for a couple of Olympic sports. You have
Nambola. They were talking about an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
Yeah, Olympic-sized swimming pool,
and a few other facilities.
Most of the
to
things have. I mean, they've only stayed as artistic impressions. So we hope that ultimately there's going to be something tangible out of visits of this.
Okay.
Of
Here's why I have some hope this time.
Yes.
And it's not as if it didn't happen the last time, but it did. By the way, he was hosted to a very big dinner at Munyonyo by the Uganda Olympic Committee.
Yes.
And then I worked
with a day prior.
Yeah, a day prior. And then I worked with National Council of Sports. We also hosted him to a dinner at the Sheraton. Yeah, at the Sheraton. And I was co-MC for that event. So I was like so many other guys who had spoken before me, the big ones, the politicians and the big technocrats. And also athletes and all in the previous dinners and all. I was going out of my way to make an impression on him about how we're actually a sporting nation and have a great Olympics history. You know, we have been to every Olympics since 1956, apart from 76 in Montreal. There was politics going on those days. The world was split between Eastern Bloc and Western Bloc, and it was during the Cold War days. And we were one of the nations that actually boycotted the 76 Olympics, but went to Moscow in 80. So when my co-MC asked me to tell us an Olympic story that sticks with me. I have so many, like Mark would as well. He's been to more Olympics than me, by the way, physically, but I've watched more Olympics than him on TV. Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
But so I told a story about John the Beast Mugabe. And I was looking to make an impression on this guy. So I told them Mugabe won silver for us in the bantamweight, lost to the Cuban fighter. The Cubans were the best amateur boxing nation in the world at the time. So for us, it was like Mugabe had won gold. He won it in 80.
Okay.
But because of the civil war that was going on in the country and all the turmoil, between 80 and 86, very, very few people, even if UBC actually, which was called UTV then, even if they had the tape, very few people had actually seen that fight, or so many of our Olympians.
And maybe for the benefit of the people who are watching, you can actually go on YouTube
Yeah.
And you feed in John the Beast Mugabe's fight,
Yeah.
which earned him that silver.
And
He lost to Cuban,
A Cuban guy calls Andres, But so Aldama, Andres Aldama, yeah. So I told that story. I said Mugabe came to Uganda in 1987 because I remember it very well. It's one of the things that inspired me. One of the reasons I'm sitting here was that he came to Uganda in 1987. I was only 14. I was in my S2.
Wow.
And the whole of Kampala at the time had one video club. It belonged to the guy called Namanya, and he was the president of the UJA, of the Uganda Journalists Association at the time. He had a video club on Benchwanka Street. And it was the only place you could go to actually watch anything. Yeah, that's how serious it was after we had come out of that period. Apart from a few, I think, rich families which had television sets at home, you couldn't still get some of the clips that we did. So Mugabe came with his own video, with his own VHS tape.
Oh, yes.
That VHS tape had the summary of his fights, from the Congo guy he beat in the coffee in the first round, to the Madagascan, the Yugoslavian, and then that Polish guy, Kazamiev, the guy he beat in the semis, and then that lost to Aldama in the final. So they brought that tape. Mugabe walked in there, larger than life guy. He used to put
he was not a professional.
Yeah, he used to put on a sombrero and he would dress like a cowboy. Even had a walking stick and things. And he was, the impression he left on me as a kid, as a 14-year-old kid, was, and the adulation of Ugandans. There was no social media. We didn't have smartphones or the internet, by the way. So even to know that Mugabe was in town and that, can you imagine such a day? To know that Mugabe was in town and that he had a video that Ugandans wanted to see was by word of mouth. And all of us stand up and bench one. I walked from Najanankombi, I remember. But never mind. So I told that story and how it left an impression on me, the sportsman I became later, and the journalist and everything.
As early as 14, you were already so interested.
I was crazy. I've been crazy about sport all my life. Yeah, all my life. And I grew up in a neighborhood of the same people. So that's how it was. The people in Najanankombi were just sports crazy at the time. Anyway, never mind. So I told this story and we used it to tell our Olympic journey. From the Eden Mkwangas and the Little Rabogos and Akibwa up to Joshua Cheptegei to how the landscape had changed, but what had changed that is Uganda. We are, regardless of our resources, regardless of our challenges with grooming and nurturing and preparation, regardless of our funding and talent issues, we will always be an Olympic nation. And we always show up, and every once in a while, it took a long time between Kiprotich and Akiba for us to win a medal, a gold. It took a long time between Kiprotich and Kamoga for us to win even a medal. But it eventually happens, and now we're in a good place. And everybody was impressing upon him there. And these guys were so happy with these stories. They, at the same dinner, Minister Ogwang stood up and continued to reiterate the support that was going to come out of the political powers on living up to the promises made about those facilities. But also a private guy, a former sportsman, former referee, former footballer, Mohamed Segonga, comes out of the crowd and out of his spirit of Rotarianism and all, donates 10 acres in Nakasongola specifically for Joshua Cheptegei to go and build an Olympic village.
What?
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
That kind of thing. So it just put
huge offer from someone.
Yeah, I thought if we follow up on these things,
because
I think we should be okay.
If I was the Uganda Olympic Committee, for instance, I would sit back and just pause for a moment, go back in history, because we had previous visits, and there were promises made. There were things said, and time came and passed, and listen,
they were not done.
They were not done.
They were not done, yes.
So you'll forgive me for
the skepticism, the pinch of salt, the caution, the whatever.
Absolutely. And that is why I'm saying, Thomas Bach he came here, he met the president, he met the first lady, the minister, and various heads of the Olympic sports and all the stakeholders in the country, and he's gone. Yeah. What we want as a country is to see the things done. There must be a change. There must be a legacy out of his visit.
Okay.
And the journey is out there. There's sufficient time for us to make the most of it. I do know that there's been support which has been coming from the IOC to Uganda in various forms. The solidarity programs and etc. and so forth. So those were bound to happen, whether Thomas Bach had come or not. Make no mistake about it. But beyond that visit, I think that is the chance for the sports disciplines, and in this case, the Olympic sports, for them to earn what they've long desired and cherished from the political powers, from all these various officers, because we've been down this road.
I know.
So many
Here's to add on to why I have more hope than Mark is because I'm trying to put into perspective the timing. In the past, we've had these visits and all, and things, people have come and gone. There's something different about this time because of the mood we're in.
How far long was that?
The
visit?
The visit.
Recent.
This one?
Yes.
No, the dinner was only last night.
Yeah.
The dinner was last night. The one I'm talking about was last night.
He
There was another
he
before.
was in the country, flew in the country on Tuesday. I think on Monday, then Tuesday.
Yes,
there was the dinner at Munyonyo.
Munyonyo, that was on Wednesday. Ours was last night. No, that was on Tuesday. Ours was last night.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and in between, he went to State House as well and met the powers that be. The reason I say the timing is better than now is because of the mood we're in. Okay. All of a sudden, we have turned into a country which is focusing on infrastructure because we won the bid to host AFCON 2027. So Thomas Bach walks into Uganda at a time when we are constructing a new stadium in Hoima, something that we've never had.
Yes.
At a time when money has been put aside for construction in Akibwa, which should start shortly as well. That is and there. And then at a time when we're also doing training grounds in Chambok and Makere and wherever they're being constructed by UPDF and others, just because CAF demands that those things are supposed to be in place by the time we play Chan next year, early next year, and then the AFCON in 2027.
Yeah, but Mark, Mark, we're in a similar mood when when Moses Kipsiro won double gold, Commonwealth gold in
But we're not building in
2010.
We're not building in
We're in a similar
But
mode.
the difference was
we had not finished Terriet. We are not building in Hoima.
But Terriet was promised in
We're not
2010.
building in Akibwa.
Terriet has taken the country 14, 15 years. Are they building some island, some, I don't know, I mean, it's taken forever to build.
Yeah, well, but the last few months have been about fast-tracking it. Okay, there was a long lull before, but I'm saying that's why the mood has changed.
timing.
The mood has changed, yeah, so much so that the president wants that done so he can launch it, so he can go to Sebei region, and it will give him an opportunity to honor Cheptegei and Peruth Chemtai and Jacob Kiplimo and all those guys and what they've done for us.
Yes.
And also perhaps the memory of Rebecca Cheptegei, the lady who so tragically was killed by her ex or whatever, whoever that guy is to her.
The beauty though with the country.
These things are all happening. And also you know that there's a plan to redevelop Lugogo into a modern sports arena. We complete with a basketball indoor.
So much, yes.
So I think we are in that mode. It might be different from when Samarank or Roj were here.
I hope so, and time. We'll wait and see.
There's this saying of, preparation, opportunity meets preparation. So I think, like he said, that the mood right now, I think we are, like, found us in a place where we're more positioned.
We had this mood when Davis Kamuga won the bronze in Atlanta in 1996.
To put these things into what?
There's something different about this time.
We had this mood when you had Moses Kipsiro winning that double gold in Glasgow,
yeah.
Including that photo finish to win the 10,000 meters. For me, to evoke memories of the race between Haile Selassie and Paul Taggart at Sydney 2000 when Kipsiro won that brilliant 10,000 meter gold in Glasgow. So we've had all these moves before, and for some reason or another, things.
This is different.
Well, time will be here. I'll
allow you to hold me to book on that one. I mean, we're about to finish an airport in Hoima, and we're constructing a stadium there at the same time.
Now let's talk about Ugandan rugby. Okay, I'm sure we have some hidden spoons in the house. If you're there, please drop something in the comment section. Yeah, the treble that bossed up the whole season this time round. But as a Pirates fan, definitely, I mean, we're still in charge, guys.
So where do you support Pirates, if I may ask?
Sorry?
Where do you support Pirates?
Oh man, now don't put me there. It's going to be a whole, now it's like a question for another day. Question for another day.
The only rugby club in the country is Cobs.
I know, actually, I mean, on that subject.
If you went to school like I did, I went to Milan College, you got to identify
on that subject,
went to school, so you wouldn't understand anything.
Wait. On that subject, actually, this weekend we have that Chitaka tent. I think, in remembrance of Chitaka, we all know who he was at the time and what kind of impact that he had. So I don't know if, do you have any more, because the way I've been seeing lately, rugby never used to be a thing. Okay, but recently, like in the past 2 years now, there is so much energy on social media and everything else. Like, what's going on? What do you think?
Look, those guys have done a great job of promoting rugby, the union and those clubs. They have their challenges administratively and all at union level and even at club level.
But Mark, every organization has got challenges.
But they've done a great job. One of why rugby has such vibe these days is what the clubs have done. First of all, they've given us alternatives on where rugby is played.
Oh yes.
I mean, I live in Belgrade, not too far from Kings Park. But, we didn't have something like that before.
No,
I mean, the party at Kings Park when there's rugby, it's just amazing.
Yes,
so that's your guys. That's Pirates. That's what they've done. So clubs have done these things. Heathens have done what they've done and all, but. The union and all these guys, one of the things they've done is to take rugby corporate. The sponsorships are flowing in here now more than they were 10 years ago.
Yes.
The corporate bodies, the big brands that I want to associate with the game are many.
Yes.
And it helps that rugby is one of those games in this country that actually of guys who have gone through the school system that he's talking about, through high school and those colleges into university and then onto the clubs and the national team.
Yes.
So that corporate feel is always there, and then so now we are in a moment where we have arguably the best sevens team in Africa. These guys they win everywhere. I mean, I was in Ghana for the All Africa Games in March, and I watched every game of theirs as they won that gold. Easy. It wasn't even a contest.
I know.
That's how big they are. If you're not bringing South Africa's best sevens team or and Namibia's and all, whatever you put there, these guys will clean up.
I mean,
15's game has suffered a bit, especially at national level and all, but the sevens game has sold. It's sold the game quite well.
And it also helps that I mean, because of the times right now, you have, at least for the national team players, you have people on the squad on contract, you know, so they are getting some money, and and it's not just even the men, even the women are playing the game. And they're going
and they too are champions,
and there's also been some injection from government. Obviously, rugby is one of the better funded sporting disciplines. I think that Mark, I'm sure you concur with me on that one. But that starts with a bit of organization, in-house. You're talking about the challenges. Every sports federation in this country has got challenges, including FUFA, which is best funded, and athletics and all the others. So those challenges are there.
But I'll tell you, one of the things, of course, Ugandan sport generally is in a better place because the changes, the evolution that we've had has been of a digital nature. We live in the information age now, and we've got, like I've told you about the smartphone and social media and how they've changed the landscape. Rugby are one of the teams that have used that the most. While we had big superstars, when I was coming up, I'm not very young, I'm older than Mark. We had superstars. I mean, Yahiro Kasasa was a big name in Ugandan rugby. And so then the Hakizas, and then it went on and on all the way up to through the Alan Musokas, to the Sogis, the late Sogi, may he rest in peace, and all. What though the power of social media and the smartphone and how rugby has used it even better than other sports is such that they've attracted the crowds, the corporate people, rather the crowds, the general public is more aware of this game now in Uganda than before. And then they've also attracted the corporate sponsorship because those guys go with numbers. And also, they've even created role models. I mean, Philip Wokorach now is perhaps a bigger person for young people in Uganda than Kasasa was in my day. And I'm not saying Philip Wokorach is a better rugby player than Kasasa was. Even Robert
Saguia was.
Yeah, exactly.
Saguia, I've said time and again, for me, is the greatest sportsman I ever saw.
It's
and it's the times.
Rugby have done well.
It's the times because for most of the kids who are watching rugby today, you'll talk about Adrian Casito, you'll talk about Ian Munyani. I mean, these are the guys they relate with.
He's actually also now abroad somewhere.
And I mean, you talk about, let's say, and I won't even go so deep. Edmond Musimbe was such a fantastic fly half. But because the kids today don't identify and associate with him, And they just finished playing not so long ago. People won't have the same attachment they have
to the guys that are playing
because
today.
of the time, the digital age, games are televised and etc. But
Right,
rugby is certainly in very, very good health.
As we leave this topic though, so this weekend, KPA, we have Cobbs hosting the Chitaka Tens. I don't know who you think is going to go through. Is it Heathens, Cobbs, Pirates? But I'm sure my guess is as good as yours. Of course, I go with Pirates. But moving on, now, yes. I have maybe like a small challenge for you. I don't know. You can, go down there in the comment section and put in your predictions that you are going to, catch up with and do a recap later on. And as you go into that section, just now in the moment, I think let's go into the predictions pattern. Let me see.
Okay, so we are going back to those games over which we argued at the start. So now let's put some numbers to those arguments because those were just arguments.
We'll see.
So let's start. Liverpool, Arsenal.
Liverpool, Arsenal, I'm going for a 1-0 draw.
1-0 draw. I'm going for a Liverpool victory, 2-1. El Clasico, Real Madrid, Barcelona.
2-1 Real Madrid.
That's where I'm going for the draw myself, and I'm going 2-2. And then we've got the Italian derby, Juventus, Inter Milan.
I'm going for a 2-0 Inter Milan.
So finally we agree on who our winner is. Although I say Juventus will get a goal in there, so I'm going 3-1 Inter. And then finally Marseille versus PSG.
I'm going for, I think Mason Greenwood is good for a goal. I'm going for a 1-0 draw.
1-0 draw.
Marseille PSG. Yeah.
Okay, I say PSG win this narrowly, and so I'll say 1-0. No. Marseille have a goal in them. So 2-1. I'll do 2-1 Marseille. I'll rather to PSG. 2-1 PSG. So that's the predictions for us. Now we leave it up to you to.
Well,
dear Paul, to wrap us up.
I'll just bet on one. I think I'm with him. The Arsenal Liverpool will be 1-0
for the Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal 1, Liverpool
I'm going for
0.
Liverpool. It leaves a bad taste in the mouth, but I'm going for Liverpool victory.
But anyway, guys, it's a wrap, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. And sure to check your social media for any highlights coming up and also the bets from today. And I think we'll meet next time, which is Tuesday, right? Tuesday, Monday.
Yeah, sure.
Tuesday, Monday,
yes. And then we'll do a recap and see how we did. Yes. So in short, also put your predictions down there, and then we'll see how to go on from there. Thank you so much.